Yo, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back. Long time no see. Yes, I know it's been a long time, and I apologize. I'm not ducking, I'm not straying, man. I've been on vacation. I've been wanting to watch this video in particular, YouTube's Darkest Videos Part 7 by Nick Crowley. I've been waiting so damn long because I want to react to it fresh on camera because these videos are so damn good. The way he puts these together, he has so many plot twists. His voice is just therapeutic, so it's easy to listen to. He knows how to explain things well. He knows how to make you anxious. He really does. With that being said, these aren't happy videos. They're a lot more dramatic. I'm not gonna be joking as much, but you know me. Let's hop straight into it. Fresh raw dog reaction with the gang. Let's do it, man. Good way to come back. Let's go.
It's December 4th, 2003.
I'm gonna go try to get them to stop doing that.
A police officer walking in a local park in Arlington, Virginia, is approached by a concerned family, claiming that someone in a nearby neighborhood had been shooting off a flare gun. The officer could hear it too, and following the sound, he eventually found himself at the home of 56-year-old James Yoo. The man lived alone in his half of this duplex, and was described by neighbors as a recluse known to exhibit unusual behavior. Across his social media, he made posts claiming that he was the victim of fraud at the hands of all sorts of government agencies, as he had a deep distrust of the US government as well as law enforcement, and he believed that numerous people were attempting to kill him, like his ex-wife, the FBI, and even his neighbors. His posts seemed entirely nonsensical, and so did many of his actions. In the months prior, he had covered up all of his windows with garbage bags and aluminum foil, and he even wrapped his trees in toilet paper. And though these actions are entirely harmless, on this day, things were becoming far more troubling.
Okay. How so, Nick? Bro, what?
When police arrived at his home, you would be seen firing his flare gun out of his window and into the air, over and over again. And despite repeated attempts to get him to stop,
Arlington County Police! Stop shooting the flares!
Nope.
Mr. Yoo!
he didn't let up, shooting 41
He's just trying to get a care package, bro.
Chill. 25 minutes. And he did it all with no explanation. In fact, he didn't even say a single word. Understandably, police were eager to get Yoo out of his home for questioning, as at this point it wasn't obvious whether or not he was a threat. And so for hours and hours they called out to him, first asking and then demanding that he exit his home.
James, Arlington Police, come to the front door with your hands up. Do it now. You have your building surrounded.
But still, there was no response. Growing
People
impatient
fuck
and
with
worried
y'all,
that
bro.
he
He ain't
might
gonna
be
listen.
planning something, the police would eventually bring in a specialized vehicle to bust down the door and spray the inside of the home with gas,
shit.
all in an attempt to draw you outside.
James, stay away from your front
This is on the Daily Mail.
Stay away.
Yo, what are they doing? Alright, I guess that works. Well, never mind.
And in response, you began firing once again. Only this time, he wasn't using flares.
Oh, shit.
And instead, he was now yielding an actual gun. Thankfully, none of these shots connected, but with the situation becoming increasingly dangerous, the officers decided to fall back, as they carefully came up with a new plan for apprehending Yoo, though whatever they had been planning would never come to fruition.
Nah, no way. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Holy shit, bro. Oh my gosh. Yo, nah, that's the entire house. I thought he was gonna attack them. I mean,
In a split second,
it's an attack, alright,
was
fuck.
gone, as a massive explosion rang out from inside the house,
Oh my
reducing the
gosh.
entire structure to rubble.
Dude, that was like a... What's his name? Oh my gosh. What is that movie director that uses the... Christopher Nolan. That's like a Christopher Nolan explosion right there, dude. Jesus Christ.
In a split second, the home was gone, as a massive explosion rang out from inside the house,
fucking God.
reducing the entire structure to rubble. Inside the house, Yoo had stored 55 gallons of gasoline in his basement, which he saved for that moment to ignite with no warning and no explanation.
What the hell, bro?
Based on the footage, it's been theorized that Yoo's actions were an attempt to lure police into his home so that he could then set off this explosion and take them all out along with the as he
I'm not laughing. Oh, fuck, bro.
Genuinely believed that both parties were conspiring to kill him.
Oh my God.
Though somehow, when the smoke cleared, no civilians or police officers had so much as been injured. All that was found in the rubble was the remnants of a single body.
Damn.
Though for a moment, this wasn't the end of James Yoo's story. Before that body could be identified,
I was about to say,
reports
there's no
across
way
social
this is
media
pure
began
hatred to
emerging,
them.
showing that James Yoo was somehow still alive.
What?
After the blast, comments were being made on what appeared to be Yoo's YouTube channel, where he stated that this whole thing was a
Oh my
the blast,
goodness.
comments were being made on what appeared to be Yoo's YouTube channel, where he stated that this whole thing was a cover-up and that he wasn't even inside the home when the standoff started, which looking back, we never actually see him, and we also never hear his voice. Numerous posts pointing out this development would go viral and cause mass confusion about the story, which was only heightened when it was revealed that the body inside that building was in fact James Yoo. Though in the end, it wasn't really as mysterious as some originally thought. As it turns out, the post showing these comments failed to realize that this wasn't actually Yoo's account, and instead it had a completely different username, with the account likely having been created as nothing more
an
than
easy
a hoax.
explanation.
To this day, though, there are some that still believe that this was all some sort of massive cover-up, but in reality, it just
that's a
seems
little
that
tough.
this was the result of a man gripped by crippling paranoia and loneliness, with it all coming to a head in what has gone on to become one of YouTube's darkest videos.
Oh my gosh. You see what I'm talking about, man? Nick Crowley, you're a goat, dog. Instant classic. We're only on the first one. I
The
don't know.
internet is a
That
dark
was
and disturbing frontier. This year
It's like,
alone,
yeah, that-
countless people have fallen victim to high-profile data breaches, raising serious concern about personal information
Nick, is this an
security.
ad?
Ticketmaster, but most alarming of all, the National Public Data announced that they too had suffered a breach. They even provide up to $5 million in identity theft insurance in case the worst happens. And with their real-time alerts for data breaches,
Right? This is
a
an ad,
VPN
right?
for safe. I'm not leaving myself or my family vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, then go on over to aura.com.
son of a bitch. All right, chapter 2, Dreamspace 2006. This is, oh my gosh. This is creepy looking already. Wow. That last one was crazy. I've never heard about that story before. And that Daily Mail footage, that looked like it was like recent. So I'm surprised I didn't hear too much of that. That's wild as hell. The paranoia just from living alone built up that much. So we had to do something like that. Wow. That's the first one, man. Let's hop straight into it. Part 2, chapter 2, my fault.
There was really nothing else like it. This obscure 27,000 square foot structure allowed visitors to enter into what must have felt like another dimension. It was an exhibit called Dreamspace, and was the creation of British artist Maurice Agus, a 74-year-old artistic visionary obsessed with the idea of creating large-scale surreal environments, and this was his magnum opus. The structure was inflatable, akin to a massive bounce house, and once inside, guests were confronted with a labyrinth of brightly colored walls and cells, twisting and turning into some sort of surreal maze that patrons were told to lose themselves in. This piece of art premiered back in 2004, and due to its inflatability, it was actually built to
2004?
travel, making stops in major cities in the UK, before
2006 footage.
it was eventually set up at Riverside Park in Durham on the 22nd of June, 2006. The very next day, 68-year-old Elizabeth Collins would visit the area with her husband and her daughter, as well as her 14-year-old grandson. And spotting this unusual structure in the distance, Elizabeth's grandson insisted on checking it out, excitedly taking off his shoes and running inside. And while the rest of the group was more apprehensive about entering, Elizabeth eventually decided to accompany him, leaving her husband and daughter on the outside, though not before turning back to them and joking that she was going in to find peace and serenity. Outside, Elizabeth's husband and daughter sat at a nearby table and enjoyed a cup of tea whilst
did he,
conversing
like-
about the events of the week, only
Sorry.
for the man to turn his head and notice that Dreamspace was slightly moving, to which he excitedly said, "Oh, it's a ride, it's a ride. I wish I had gone on it."
What?
The daughter then turned her head to see the structure as it began to rise up off the ground,
Damn it. Hold up, y'all.
to which she chillingly responded, "It's not a ride."
Don't tell me. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck am I looking at? The wind? No, there's no way it's wind. What am I looking at? Oh my god.
In that moment, Dreamspace had split from its moorings and was blown into the air by a massive gust of wind.
No
Agus
way.
just so happened to be standing at the entrance as it began to shift, and noticing what was happening, he grabbed on as he desperately tried to hold down his entire life's work, though clearly this was of no use. And after being lifted in the air, his grip failed, sending him falling back to the ground below, where he lay staring up at his creation that was now flying 30 feet above him.
Oh my god. Bruh, there's no way. Like, okay, what? I have a lot of questions. I'm gonna let you answer them, Nick. Hopefully. Is there nothing holding it down? Like, even
Inside, there was
this
many
shit
as
looks
30
heavy.
people
How?
who were now being thrashed around this giant inflatable structure in a scene that I truly can't even imagine. The claustrophobia of it, the dizzying colors,
Wait,
the
but
scream.
how does it look inside? Because that looks bouncy. Wouldn't they just? I mean, that's might be a stupid thing to say, but wouldn't they just be kind of bouncing around? I'm not even trying to joke around here. Like, it dead ass.
It's genuinely one of the most horrific scenarios I've ever heard. The
Sorry
inflatable
for
structure
coughing,
was
y'all.
airborne for well over a minute, folding into itself before finally crashing back down into a parking lot, leaving behind what was described by witnesses as a field of bodies.
Oh my fucking.
Worst of all, the majority of those in attendance were families with small children, with one 7-year-old girl recounting her experience, saying, "It was very scary and people were screaming. I saw a lady clinging on and then falling out, and then she was lying on her back with people around her. I think she died." This
Oh
lady was most
my
likely 16-year-old
gosh,
Elizabeth
bro.
Collins, who had been ejected from the structure when it was in the air, with her injuries being catastrophic and unsurvivable.
No, baby.
Of all the others now sprawled throughout this field of grass, most were left injured, but thankfully not in serious condition. Though this wasn't the case for 38-year-old Claire from Edge, who had been inside during the accident with her 2 children. And despite her kids surviving, she was sadly not so lucky, with Claire and Elizabeth being the sole fatalities of the incident.
That's so fucking shitty.
The video is terrifying.
Like, this is
And though it's
such
easy
a
to
like. With all due respect, I'm not saying this word in a way that's like undermining or making or joking about it or belittling anything. Well, this is a goofy situation. This is easily preventable. This is a fucking
say that this
catastrophe
could have been
on the
so much
security
worse,
or the
considering
property
how many
management,
people were
whatever
in
the fuck.
Dreamspace at the time. The consequences were still
Millions, bro. Run me them pockets if that's my grandma. Oh my gosh.
catastrophic, as it devastated 2 families and likely left many others at the scene traumatized for life, especially the young children. But how could this have happened? Well, that day was particularly warm, which likely caused the air inside the structure to expand, causing a hot air balloon-like effect, which was then exacerbated by sudden
Okay.
strong gusts of wind, which eventually caused the structure to go airborne, as in the end, it just wasn't properly secured for the conditions. Soon after the incident, Maurice Agus was arrested for manslaughter, though he would
Sheesh.
ultimately only end up paying a small fine, as he vowed to never create a large work again. Just a few years later, in 2009, Maurice Agus would pass away,
Damn.
with his legacy forever being defined by this devastating
Damn.
footage.
Wow, man.
Happy birthday to
What the hell?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Serena.
On October 2nd, 2006, police entered the home of 31-year-old Elaine Campione, where inside they found the woman speaking incoherently. Next to her was a VHS camera, depicting a series of disturbing events that had transpired within the home over the previous months and days, with the footage eventually finding its way onto YouTube.
Hi, Serena.
Wait. Sorry. Let me listen to that one more time.
Entered the home of 31-year-old Elaine Campione, where inside they found the woman speaking incoherently. Next to her was a VHS camera, depicting a series of disturbing events that had transpired within the home over the previous
Okay.
months. and
Sorry, I
days,
missed the part of
with the
that.
footage eventually finding its way onto YouTube.
Hi, Serena. It's August 8th, 2006. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
The tape starts with Elaine pointing her new camera at her daughter Serena, It was her 3rd birthday, and to celebrate, Elaine had left a brand new bike in the living room.
What is it?
It's a bike!
Days later, the footage continues, showing Serena once again as Elaine asks,
How does Mama love you?
This much.
Oh, I love you more than that. How much does Mama love you?
Elaine then shows her other daughter, Sophia, who was just a baby, before turning the camera on herself and showing the kids how the device worked.
Hi! See how the camcorder works? Look.
Yeah, it's a virus.
Look. Hi! Is that Mommy? Hi!
So far, the footage seems like nothing more than your standard family home videotape, and appears completely wholesome. Though with the next recording, the tone begins to shift, and things start to become slightly concerning.
This is a deplorable, horrible, messy, filthy apartment that supposedly my 2 children and I live in, and it's just a horrible, horrible mess. Yeah. I think Diego Campione is totally in the wrong, and I hope he burns in hell for all his sins, the same as Leonardo.
As Elaine shows the camera her home, she begins
Okay.
joking about how they are living in deplorable conditions.
Yeah, deplorable's a
before
crazy
randomly
word.
calling out 2 men, who she says she hopes burn in hell, all while her children are in the same room. She starts to grow more and more
Did she start drinking or
All I
something?
wanted to do was take care of my 2 little girls and live happily ever after the 3 years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I endured tremendously by Leonardo Campione, and then the past year from Anna and Diego Campione, the mental and emotional abuse.
outright saying that she was abused by a man named
shit.
Leonard Campione, who happened to be her husband and the father of these children. And she goes on from there, with each moment clearly making the kids more and more anxious.
And I want justice to my family for what they have all done to us. I cried out for help. They should have charged him for the assaults he did to me.
Eventually causing Elaine to snap out of it and stop the camera.
And my poor 3-year-old, I did everything to protect. And what are you saying, Sophia? What do you want?
The
Get
video
to the
then
point,
skips
Nick.
forward once more, with this
What's
footage
about to
being
happen,
taken
bruh?
just days before the police were called, showing Serena coloring on the floor as Elaine asks,
Who loves ya?
Mommy.
Who loves you the most? That much? Oh, I think I love you more than that.
The scene that unfolds next was recorded on that very same night, just hours later.
Recording this because Leo and there. Are you happy? Everything's gone. You wouldn't give peace. You wouldn't tell the truth. You didn't care about our babies. You didn't care about me. You care about yourself. All you did was hurt us.
In the video, Elaine states that everything is gone, as she speaks to Leo directly, accusing him of having ruined their lives with his constant abuse.
You are truly the devil. And I hate you. 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 And I want you to know how much I hate you.
Disturbingly, the children were nowhere to be seen in this footage, with Elaine eventually addressing them by saying,
No, you didn't,
God,
bro.
what do you think? And God's taking care of them now.
Oh
You're
my
protected
God.
by God. Thank God. Thank Him. Because there's no way I could have them with you. Nothing's good enough for you. It has to always be your way. Well, they're good. And you can have it your way. Your wife and your daughters are dead now. We're all in heaven.
According to Elaine, not only were her children gone, but she was too. She stops the recording soon after. Despite saying this, the camera would actually start up one more time, where Elaine describes how she was still alive, despite having attempted to OD, which prompted her to call the police. When officers arrived at the home, both Serena and Sophia were found laying in her mother's bed, holding hands, and wrapped tightly in rosaries. Neither of them were alive. 2 nights
Bro, what type of fucked up shit, dude?
prior and directly before filming this message, Elaine had brought them both into the bathroom as it was time for their nightly baths. And once in the tub, she told them to play a game, one where they would place their heads beneath the water and blow out bubbles. When they did this, Elaine held their heads down, and she didn't let go until she was certain they were gone. This footage is some of the most disturbing that I've ever seen, as we get a glimpse into Elaine's descent into madness in the moments directly before she stole her children's lives. But all of this leaves one obvious question. Why? Well, it was noted during her investigation that the abuse she alleged from her ex-husband Leo seemed to be very real and well documented.
Yeah, well, who the fuck is Leo, and what did he do to her?
Children for over a year, with this causing the two to separate, which is when Elaine's mind began to deteriorate. She began believing that people were following her and were going to kill her, with this fear of people eventually shifting to a fear of aliens, as she claimed to have seen them on numerous occasions, believing they were following her. Because of this fear, she refused to let her children out of her sight, not even allowing her own parents to look after them, causing her to become so attached to these children that she genuinely began to believe that they were all one entity, which made things incredibly concerning when she became suicidal and eventually attempted to take her own life. Despite Leo of her sight, not even allowing her own parents to look after them, causing her to become so attached to these children that she genuinely began to believe that they were all one entity, which made things incredibly concerning when she became suicidal and eventually attempted to take her own life. Despite Leo's more than troubled history, he supposedly turned his life around in the years leading to this footage, and was eventually allowed to start visiting the children on a limited capacity. And seeing the children and seeing the way their mother was behaving, he began to grow incredibly concerned, and eventually attempted to gain full custody. And it was this bitter custody battle that seemed to be the ultimate factor that led to Elaine ending the lives of her children.
God's taking care of them now.
Damn.
Protected by God, thank God. Thank Him. Because there's no way I could have them with you.
God damn it,
Elaine
dude.
Campione would be charged with 2 counts of murder and would eventually be sentenced to life in prison, with a possibility of parole after 25 years. Today, she's held in a minimum security prison, where she's free to leave once every weekend to attend church and other functions.
That's just like, I mean, the way Nick explained it there was that, obviously I don't know who the Leo dude is, or the ex-husband, but the way Nick describes it is there was real abuse, and he didn't have full custody over them. He went over one time, or I don't know if it was one time, but he was able to see them, and he saw their living condition, and he thought it wasn't right for them, so then he wanted full custody, and then that's what set her off to do all that. But that's not obviously that's not a reasonable response in any planet or world, bro. Like, there's a lot of stories like that, man. That's sad as fuck, dude. To see them too just makes it worse. Oh,
April 18th.
Hell no! What is this? Gavin Collins road rage. Get that damn scary ass image out of my face.
A 39-year-old man named Gavin
What the
Collins
hell is that?
was released from the HMP Ranby prison in the UK. His
Put him
freedom
back
lasted
in.
less than 24 hours, as the very next day he suffered a severe mental breakdown,
Oh.
the result of which was captured partially across several video recordings that later appeared on YouTube. This is the story of his rampage.
Get that away from me.
It began at approximately 9 a.m. in the city of Nottinghamshire when Gavin left his home. As he walked down the sidewalk, those in the area reported him acting strangely, muttering to himself that he was Jesus and that he was invincible. Without warning, he then turned his attention to a random home, which he forcefully entered, stole a man's car keys, and took his vehicle, taking off with no apparent destination. Inside the car, the owner just so happened to have 2 cameras, one being a standard dash cam and the other facing inside the vehicle, giving us a look at
Oh. I'm sorry, Ellie. I didn't mean to scare you. It's okay. Bro, what the fuck? This dude's trying to get first place on Mario Kart. Oh, hell no.
and his apparent mental state.
This is me. Jesus Christ! I'll shut you up with the eyesight I've got. Hey, don't need this. Come on, let's go, bro. So, get rid of all that crap hairs. Let's go! Let's go!
Just at a glance, it's obvious that Gavin is completely unhinged. For some reason, he was utterly filled with rage.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. He is unhinged. He's unhinged.
Thing off the rearview
That's for
mirror,
damn
yelling
sure.
obscenities and incomprehensible threats at no one in particular.
I'm enraged! I'm Jesus! I'm descendant of God! And you lock me up! Watch this!
Bruh.
And most concerning of all is the speed in which he's
Dude
traveling.
is flying.
As he starts driving faster and faster, swerving in and out of cars as he passes through busy residential areas, as he reaches speeds that have been estimated to be anywhere from 85 miles an hour to well over 120.
Watch this!
That's what it looks like. Is 120, 130.
And stronger by the second!
Oh
But
my
somehow,
gosh.
despite countless close calls, every time he avoids collision. At least for the time being. In an instant, Gavin smashes the vehicle into a brick home at full speed, with the impact being devastating. And yet somehow, through the destruction, Gavin was not only still alive, but completely unharmed, and also completely unfazed. He pulled himself from the wreckage and immediately turned his attention to a woman driving nearby.
fuck?
And within moments, he had forced his way into the vehicle.
Yo!
The wheel once again.
Yo!
Continuing this deranged driving spree, until once again, he crashed.
Oh my
and much like the
gosh.
initial collision, he survived, walking away unscathed.
He has
before
6
turning his attention
stars.
To another random home.
Oh my gosh.
In
Get
pursuit of
this
stealing his
menace
third vehicle,
inside
he
now.
grabbed a nearby concrete slab and began to smash through the home's doors, bloodying his hand.
Is there nobody to stop this in the UK, bruh? Holy shit, this guy's an Avengers level threat, bruh. Nobody said nothing?
Before eventually making entry. Inside were a mother and her 2 children, one of which was 5 years old,
Oh
and the
my
other
gosh,
wasn't even a year. Gavin approached the terrified family, yelling and demanding that the mother give up her car keys, telling her that he was Jesus and that, because I am Jesus, I will kill you if you don't give me the keys. Without hesitation, she did as he said. Gavin then went to each member of the family, and with his injured hand, he drew crosses on their forehead, out of his own blood, before taking off with his 3rd stolen car.
Oh my goodness. What is his deal?
And Gavin was driving manically, though this time he was even more reckless,
Oh
crashing
my
into a
God.
brick wall and then a cop car,
Stop him!
before setting his sights on a pedestrian.
Damn.
While speeding through a neighborhood, Gavin would see a man standing innocently near a bus stop, and for whatever reason, the sight of this man enraged him, causing Gavin to slam on the brakes and reverse the vehicle, stepping on the gas as hard as he could, and crashing directly into him, leaving him lying there with devastating injuries. Gavin quickly exited the vehicle and found the man lying motionless on the ground, prompting him to shout, "I've killed him. I've killed the devil." Minutes later, Gavin would crash yet another car into yet another home, though this time the police weren't far behind.
This way. I'll get him out. I'll get him out.
What are you doing?
Do not move! Do not move!
Finally bringing his disturbed driving spree to an end.
It took y'all
The
damn
man
long
that
enough.
Gavin had struck was 87-year-old Terry Radford, a retired teacher whose injuries were catastrophic, with the man passing away soon after. According to his family, Terry was an incredible grandfather, father, and son.
Son of a bitch, dude.
The footage is genuinely
What the
horrifying, but what's
fuck?
more
I have
shocking
never seen this. Look at this face. This is a fucking menace to society.
of all is the fact
This
that
is
any
a
of this was even
goddamn-
allowed to happen. As stated previously, this was Gavin's very first day out of prison, and based on the
God,
behavior
this is a monster.
he exhibited whilst in prison, he really should have never been released. Gavin was granted an early release in March of 2019 for charges based around burglary, but just as he was set to be freed, it was discovered that he had submitted an adulterate drug test, which caused his case to be re-examined and resulted in his release being postponed. In response, Gavin lost his mind. Later that month, he assaulted a prison guard before spraying him with an unknown liquid that contained bleach, before proceeding to set his cell on fire and attacking another officer with a piece of wood. Due to his actions, Gavin was placed into an isolated cell, where less than a week later he started yet another fire, and when an officer entered his cell to put it out, Gavin struck them in the head and pulled out a plastic knife, threatening to slash him, stating that it would be a thrill to kill him. Gavin's stay in prison clearly hadn't rehabilitated him. In fact, it seemed to have made him more violent than ever before, and more mentally disturbed. Though shockingly, despite all of these additional crimes, Collins' release would go on to be approved less than 2 weeks later, with Gavin being set free in 2018, and within just 24 hours, Terry Radford would be brutally killed.
You
Gavin
fucking
was sentenced
imbeciles.
to 21 years in prison, and
21?
revealed that no drugs were found in his system, and instead, this all seemed to be the result of some sort of psychotic episode.
21 years?
Camera. And one of
I'm sorry, do you guys not learn any damn lessons? 21 years after letting him go on that bullshit. He gave y'all fake piss. Y'all found out it wasn't real piss. He got pissed off and then attacked y'all. 3 separate times he lit fire in the damn cells. Gets out. And then, I mean, I'm sorry, but this image alone should get him 21 years. Are you serious?
Darkest videos.
Oh, hell. Yet again, Nick, another banger. Great video here. Wow. The first one was insane. The first one caught me so off guard, it's not even funny. That explosion was wild. That was straight out of a movie. The second one was that damn balloon house. That's super eerie. This thing just got lifted up with so many people in it. And it tells us about the victims. That was messed up. I mean, for me thinking, this looks like, I don't know, it didn't look like it would do that much damage, or even lift up that high. Who am I? This was just fucked up. I mean, they're all messed up, obviously, but for their own reasons. Great video. Again, Nick, outstanding. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up right there, though. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, apologize for being gone for so long, but I'm back into it. But I appreciate you guys for staying tuned, man. Watching till the end, it means the world to me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, man.